Good evening. This is Digital Asset Guy. Hope you're well. So it is November 11th. This is my second news video. It's like the Digital Asset Guy evening news. Glad you joined me. We've got Bitcoin down here at $103,115. We're on CoinMarketCap, my favorite place to check crypto prices and the market. So if we look on the 24-hour chart right here, we've had pretty much a red day. If we look at it on the week, we had kind of a good week. Starting out, everybody was kind of, saying, oh, we're going to the moon because the government's reopening. I think we got kind of a rally there into yesterday, the 10th, right? Yeah. And we've I think people have sold the news a little bit. But anyway, that's what Bitcoin's doing. We've got an Ethereum at $3,436 right now. Kind of the same story as Bitcoin. You can see over here on this little chart over here. Tether is holding strong at just about $1, a little under. XRP is holding pretty strong at $240. If we look at it on the 24-hour, we've had a pretty red day. We were up 255, came down in a day. If we look at it on the week, very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum. If we look at it on the year, excuse me, allergies still not doing very well. Darn tree bark. Anyway, if we look at it on the year, in the all-time, we are up, but this structure right there, pretty bearish in my opinion. We got all the way up to like 355, coming down a little bit. There's a lot of optimism in the news with the government reopening. We're going to look at some of those things here. There's an ETF for XRP coming, so we'll dive into it. Real quick, I just want to go back, take a look at Bitcoin here, 103,000. Tom Lee and some other heavy hitters are calling for Bitcoin to be over 200 or 250,000 at the end of the year. I personally don't see how we get there unless we have some incredible news dropped or something, which is not impossible. But I just wanted to show in my private Facebook group on March 24th, I drew this. And I predicted Bitcoin going to about 117,000. I'm not a chart analyst like Blockchain Backer or anything, but I've had a pretty keen sense of the market and the sentiment. For me, it's all about emotions and market psychology. So I just my gut said this, 117. Yeah, we went higher than that. If we look at it here, this was like back in July. When I first started talking about possibly being at the top on one of my YouTube videos, one of the walking videos, some of you all don't like. So here's a news video. We'll try to show you the actual news. But anyway, right here is like 16, 17, 18, 19. Then we went down a little bit, pushed above it to 123 or 4 for a bit, came back down below, had one more push up to 120. I think it was actually 126 just for a little bit. But I think the main level was right around 117. So I'm just saying, I think I was pretty close because when it was 88,000, when I made this prediction, that was back on March 24th. That was back here, down here, when a lot of people were telling me this was the end and this was the top. But anyway, so that's just where I always kind of envisioned it. If we look at Bitcoin and zoom out here, these are tops. Like some of them, you could call them local tops. There's technical terms, but these are tops. And I don't know, this looks like it could be a top. That would just make sense. So also we've got the crypto total market cap at about 3.46, about 3.5 trillion. Again, we were as high as 4.3 trillion. Just a little over a month ago. Here's some of the big news. Eleanor Tarrant She is my hero, or my mother watched my news video from yesterday, last night, and she told me I should have said she is my heroine. So that is probably correct. I don't hear that word being used very much. But to be correct, thanks, Mom. Eleanor Terrett is my heroine. Here's another heroine who you might see very soon, Miss Bree Teresi. Anyway, here's my video down here in case you haven't seen it. I don't know why it didn't get as many views, but you can watch this video of me. I'm kind of interviewing Eleanor, and she's just so awesome. And later I want to show an interview she did with Brad Garlinghouse, if we have time to get to that. But anyway, she just posted, Eleanor says, Canary Funds has filed its Form 8A. This is the final step before it goes effective at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, once the NASDAQ certifies the listing. When that happens, the last hurdle is cleared and the first XRP spot ETF will be set to launch Thursday at market open. So that's pretty exciting. So, it is really great news. Crypto in America, that's Eleanor's her podcast that she does. It's really great. They say Happy Veterans Day to all who served and those currently serving. Of course, I think Eleanor is a great American. She just became a U.S. citizen, and I felt so bad on the day that she, or a couple days after, she actually did not get to watch the signing of the Genius Act. I think it was in the White House or somewhere important because of some of her paperwork with becoming a U.S. citizen. But I think Eleanor is a great U.S. citizen, and she's just a class act. Anyway, I am really excited about this XRP ETF. I'm just saying, if we come back and look here at Bitcoin, here, I'm going to ask. I think the first Bitcoin ETF went live. I think it was 2021, like right around the top, like October 2021. Let me ask my assistant here. Good evening. When was the first Bitcoin ETF launched? What date did it actually start trading?
Good evening. The first Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. began trading on October 19th, 2021. It was definitely a milestone for the crypto space.
Okay, thank you. So here we go. We got October 18th, 2021. Price is $62,000. Look where that happened. Right about the top, or right before the top. So I'm just saying, we were kind of at the top around 67,000, whatever, in 2021. And then we went into a multi-year bear market. We were not back up to around that price until 2024. People, I'm just saying, I've got a lot of friends going, oh, we got XRP ETF. We're going to the moon. It's launching Thursday. We're all good. And I've been doing this for a while, and I just think that it's cyclical. I think it's all about market psychology. Yes, someday we will have a utility bull run, or maybe it'll be different where it does keep going up. I don't know. But until then, I'm going to do what I've seen in the past until I really have a reason to believe that these things are going to move the price. So, it's great news. I'm excited about it, but I just don't know if that's going to send us off to the races on Thursday when it goes. But great news. Here is the Wolf of All Streets. Not the Wolf of Wall Street, which is a very entertaining movie, but this is the Wolf of All Streets. He posted this, Schwab Network. Listen to what they have to say about crypto being part of someone's wealth, finally being recognized for mortgages. This is really interesting. I've had a real estate license for over 10 years. I've given crypto classes at for my real estate brokerage and around my city, and I've been laughed at by realtors, lenders, title people. I've had them get actually very, very snarky with me in my classes saying, this is not real money and this is just nonsense. And I just wanted to come and hear what you had to say, young man, but we will not let this happen because it's nonsense. And then now this is happening. So take a listen.
Why do you think that lenders have been so slow to recognize digital assets as an overall part of someone's wealth?
They haven't gotten the directive from up above that they're getting now, right? I mean,
Right.
These are not speedboats. These are obviously aircraft carriers, and they take a long time to turn. So unless you have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the director like Pulte saying that you're going to count these assets, it was never going to be included. And like I said, this is just an obvious evolution of the policy. They already count volatile stocks. They know exactly how to discount these. They could count, a 30% or 50% reduction in the value of your Bitcoin or crypto holdings to make sure that it's safe collateral. But like I said, just really, really obvious, and just needed somebody at the top to take the initiative.
Why do you think that lenders have been so slow to recognize digital assets as an overall part of someone's wealth?
I'll tell you why, because they're afraid of it and they didn't want to learn about something new. And they're like, well, this is the way we've been doing it for so long. And because I taught them, tried to teach them about it in the room several times. Yeah, they'll come around, but I can already answer that question. And a lot of it is financial advisors. They're not able to get paid by shilling digital assets. I had a meeting with a financial advisor. I talked about it in my last walking video. I shocked him when I opened my computer and showed him, he was saying crypto's fake, it's not real money, it's a scam. I opened my computer and I was pleasantly surprised well, it was not pleasant. I shocked him and he was kind of at a loss for words. And then he proceeded to try to sell me a jumbo life insurance policy and say, I need that for whatever reason. And I said, well, I'm not, I wasn't into it at the time. He wanted me to buy certain stocks. He just didn't know what to say. And I was like, well, those stocks, that's nice. They're up 15%, but I've got crypto up tens of thousands of percent since 2016. So I'm not interested. And he got very snarky with me and kind of closed his computer and left. But the truth is, they haven't been, they've been laughing at us. So how could they get paid to shill crypto and talk it up when they've been laughing at it, So they got a little work to do to come around, but it's just really interesting. Here's some other big news today. SoFi CEO on launch of crypto trading, blockchain and crypto are a super cycle technology, just like AI. Yeah.
New this morning, we got the guy at the desk. SoFi launching crypto trading on its platform. Joining us right now, first on CNBC, is SoFi CEO Anthony Noto in town. It's nice to see you, sir, in person.
Good to see you as well.
Okay, so what's going on here? This is a big deal.
Yeah, this morning,
a very big deal for you.
It is a very big deal. It's a big day.
It's a
and
very,
big
very
milestone.
big deal.
Reverses the course of time.
It does.
We've wanted to be a one-stop shop for all your financial services needs, and one of the holes we've had for the last 2 years was in cryptocurrency, the ability to buy, sell, and hold crypto. We were not allowed to do that as a bank. It was not permissible. But in March of this year, the OCC came out with an interpretive letter that it's now permissible for banks like SoFi to offer cryptocurrencies. So this morning we're launching as the only national bank, the first and only national bank, the opportunity to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana.
So I was going to ask, are we just talking about 3 for now?
We'll expand well beyond 3. It'll be a pretty broad assortment. We try to differentiate on being fast, having broad selection, great prices, ease of use. So we'll try to give members, SoFi members, as much selection as they would like.
And what's the difference between going through you and going through Coinbase or going through Robinhood or somebody else?
All right, and then he'll tell us why they're the best and everything. But they got Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana. They've got them up there. I just think it's so funny how XRP has always been up here, even though, it's went through the SEC lawsuit. Coinbase wouldn't list it. It's just funny to me how it's been so pushed into the corner, but it's always up there, and we've seen the most gains out of XRP. It was up nearly 700% in this last run, but you never hear about it from the mainstream media. This was it on the year. XRP down here at 50 cents. We rocketed up. This was on in last November, right after the election. 50 cents. You could have got it for years and years back here under 50 cents. We rocket up to $2.71, take a little breather, and then continue up to $3.55 was actually the top of this. And let's see if I have it on. Yeah, this is back in my private group in Facebook. Now, I had some help from the blockchain backer and some other crypto analysts that I synthesized, but this was a quote by blockchain backer. XRP, it is time you may send. That was on November 10th, 2024. And that's when we did, in fact, send. And then right about here, I have all the friends and family calling, oh, should I buy? And I'm like, I literally, I don't give financial or investment advice. I do not, but I posted what I was personally doing and why I was doing it. And I did, yeah. So anyway, here is Tom Lee. Right now, we've got an Ethereum sitting around $3,400. We got Bitcoin at 103. Listen to what Tom Lee says here. Very interesting. This guy, he knows things, although he knows what he's doing. He's definitely like a legend in investing, but just to be honest, to be fair, I was in Ethereum before he was, and he may know things that I don't know, but he's calling for $12,000 Ethereum by the end of the year. He probably just knows things that I don't know, but listen to this.
How far do you think we get on Bitcoin by the end of the year?
Well, I think people have dampened their expectations for Bitcoin because Bitcoin's been treading water, and there have been a lot of OGs, original Bitcoiners that are selling above 100,000, but it is still an underallocated asset class. So I think Bitcoin actually potentially can get to the high 100,000s, maybe even 200,000 by the end of the year. I think it's a big ask, but to me, what's more obvious is Ethereum can have a huge move into year end, because even Kathy Wood wrote about it. She thinks stable coins have been cannibalizing demand for Bitcoin, and gold and tokenized gold is cannibalizing demand for Bitcoin. But stable coins and tokenized gold run on smart contract blockchains like Ethereum, and Wall Street is building, and Larry Fink wants to tokenize everything on Wall Street, on the blockchain. That means Ethereum is where people are starting to raise their growth expectations. And if you're raising your growth expectations, then your discount to the future is going up. So I think that there's a bigger move in Ethereum. And Mark Newton, our head of technical strategy, thinks we can be like 9 to 12,000 by January. I think that's about right. I think Ethereum 600 more than doubles between now and year.
More than doubles between now and year end. I mean, I could see it in 2017. I lived this. 2017, if we go back there, I was in Ethereum like early on 16. My friend and I, we were just like silly college kids, like, hey, let's mine some crypto on this computer thingy. And it went from, $10, $20 to $1,200 right at the end of the year, right in there. It was like Christmas. I remember on Thanksgiving Day, my friend texted me, and he never says anything, and he says, hey, Ethereum just broke $400 a coin, or it was above 400. I was like, wow, isn't that like a huge, anyway, so we do all this, and then this is the bear market, and this run, these were around the end of the year too, a little before the end of the year for the all-time high up here, but it wouldn't surprise me. Although some of my favorite chart analysts like Blockchain Backer, he has been calling these things, he called the massive liquidation we just saw on October 10th. This is XRP, I think. He overlays things from the past. Again, going back to my saying, you got to live in the past and the future and be very mindful in the present, make the best of the present. He likes to put overlay chart behavior from the past, and right now XRP is really, really shockingly accurately matching this past bearish pattern. So that's just something to watch. He's had some other really interesting things to say. He said, happy 4-year anniversary from the 2021 top. So that's where we topped in the last cycle. And yeah, if you look back here. If we look at the crypto total market cap and we go to all time, let's see, when was, oh, it won't let me go all the way back there. Huh. Why is that? All. Oh, maybe it's my internet not loading, but anyway, it's been 4 years, so we're a little past 4 years. So I've been saying the 4-year cycle might not still be happening because I just think when you get more money, it's heavier, it takes longer. So I don't think it's going to stay in 4-year cycles, but I'm seeing evidence of the top myself. Another thing, Michael Saylor, he's one of Bitcoin's biggest, maybe the biggest Bitcoin bull with MicroStrategy. I was in the room with this guy in Vegas in May, and I respect him a lot, and he's been right about a lot of things, but some of these tweets I'm seeing, or I'm sorry, posts, because it's not Twitter anymore, but like, look, buy now. Like he's telling you to buy now. I remember tweets like that back in 2018 at the end of the bull run when it was kind of like, okay, we're running out of steam here, but we're all trying to, here we go, Bitcoin on sale. I mean, it could be, and I hope it is, and we go off into this, but it just kind of seems like we're topping to me. Plus, just another angle to come at it from, I've made enough profit, where for me, I'm going to act as if that were the top. If I'm wrong and we blast up to 250,000 in December, like Tom Lee says, great, I still have some, but I took some profit, and that'll be that. But, it's this stuff, people want to just jump in at the end when we're near the finish line, and you cannot do that, What I do, again, I don't give financial advice, but what I do for myself, it's probably not the right thing for you to do if you're just getting into crypto. I mean, this has been a marathon, not a marathon even. Like this feels like it's probably going to be a lifelong journey, but I just have memories. Like back here, Cardano, I remember buying my first Cardano. Okay, we started out, I remember it was like pennies, like 1, 2, 3 cents back here. I watch it rip up to $1. It really went up to like $1.12. Comes back down, goes all the way down. This bear market is when I really started actually taking things seriously. Everyone was saying it's dead, it's done. In this bear market, we were down in here, a penny, 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, whatever, down in here. I remember I did not have a lot of money right after college, and yeah, I had the Ethereum thing go, but I didn't sell any, and I was holding because this hadn't happened yet. And I started watching, learning about crypto, and I realized it's the market cycle. It's not like it goes up and stays up. And right in here, I remember buying $500 worth of Cardano at like 3 cents or something. And that's all the money I had at the time. I had college debt, and I remember it was having to make really difficult decisions. Like a family member had a wedding that was out of the country, this giant destination wedding, and they needed me to be really one of the backup groomsmen because their person couldn't make it or whatever. So all of a sudden they're like, yeah, well, you just have to get your plane ticket and the hotel room and whatever, and then we're going to pay for your rehearsal dinner food or whatever. And I'm looking at it, it's like $3,000 going to cost me for 2 days or something. I had to say I'm not going. This is when I was buying my crypto, and it might have seemed like the silliest thing in the world to somebody back then. I know it did because, people told me so. This bear market, things like that became my portfolio that I have now, which is no joke. Same thing on, a lot of these different ones. I'm not going to go into it. Again, it's not financial or investment advice for you. I'm just giving you my personal experience and what's worked for me and my personal thoughts. So, hope you learned something. Please give me a like, subscribe, and please comment below and tell me what you think and what you want me to talk about on here. As the digital asset guy, I just want to teach the world about crypto, talk about it, share things, answer questions. I just want to do whatever I can do to help anyone who's new and maybe give you that reassurance that I wish somebody would have gave me back in here to say, you're right, go with it. You're right, don't listen to the other people. Wish I would have bought more in there. So, all right, to all a good night. Digital Asset Guy out.